nerds, what's up? Welcome to a little bit of a silly video, but the other day I was traveling and I just got thinking about this one really niche nerd thing that kind of depresses me, and all of a sudden it made me think of all the niche nerd things that depress me. And so today I need an outlet to talk about them. The first one we're going to start with is a store called Fry's Electronics going out of business. Now, this is indeed the one that made me think of this entire video and what I was just thinking about while I was traveling. Now, this one is probably the nichest of them all because it requires you to be alive during a certain period of time and live in a certain geographical location. But in case you don't know, Fry's Electronics was a store, and it was a store that held every possible computer component, element, cord, thing you could ever need. But it was more than that. It was a destination. It was a place to go and see all the new games that were out and play on the consoles and run around the aisles and see all the cool things they had. I grew up going to this store in the 90s with my sister and my dad, and it was like a destination place for me. It was a fun place to go. We'd go on the weekends. This place was packed. It was always hopping, and the lines were always super, super long, and you would like weave in and out of these aisles full of interesting things. When I left my first tech job out of college to move to San Francisco, my team took me out for like a farewell lunch, and they were Googling where we were going to live, and they were like, "Did you know you're only a few minutes away from a Fry's Electronics? You're going to be okay." And I was like, guys, I grew up near a Fry's Electronics, and everyone freaked out. Like, that was Mecca. Everyone knew that you were privileged to have grown up near a Fry's Electronics. And you know what? As late as 2017, I went to a Fry's Electronics in San Francisco at midnight to pick up the Nintendo Switch. It was a great place to be. It was amazing. So, fast forward. The year is now 2021. We have recently moved to Seattle, and we need a cord for something same day. And I'm looking it up, and I notice that there is a Fry's Electronics 15 minutes from our house. I am so excited. I pack up my entire family, including my 2 kids, thinking they are going to experience the joy that is Fry's Electronics. It is a destination. We are going to have so much fun. It is a Saturday. I know this place is going to be packed. We drive up to Fry's Electronics. It is a ghost town. We are the only people in the entire warehouse store, which is filled with empty shelves. And I mean empty. There's like barely any products in this store. There are no fun displays. There is nothing to do. My kids are like, "Why did you take me here?" And I have never been so depressed. I actually snapped a photo to send to my parents being like, "What happened?" And I can't find the photo, which is so disappointing. I searched and searched and searched. But yeah, that was really depressing. And then just a year later, I think, maybe not even a year later, it might have been that same year, it announced that all Fry's Electronics stores were closing and had gone under. Look, I get it. Who buys a niche piece of electronic equipment they need anymore in a store? We all use Amazon or go online and just order it and have it show up to our door. I just think in general, electronics buying habits have moved to all online, or just like video games, even just all digital content. And then with the double whammy of 2020 shutting down so many brick and mortar stores, like it probably wasn't inevitable that Fry's Electronics was gonna just go under. But I can still be sad about it. Fry's Electronics, beloved, you will always have a place in my heart. Okay, going on to number 2. This one's less niche because I felt like the other one was so niche, we needed to bring like a little relatability here. So the next one we're gonna talk about is the Paper Mario franchise. Now, if you didn't play it, Paper Mario first came out on the N64 and is one of my top video games of all time. I don't know what year it came out. I was probably like 10 or 11 when it came out. I don't know. I was obsessed with this game, and its sequel, which came out on the GameCube, which was Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door, was also excellent. One of my favorite video games still, like both of those, the Paper Mario, those 2 of all time, I have played each of those, I think, to completion like 4 or 5 times. It just never gets old. They're so wacky and creative, and the second is maybe even better than the first. It's hard. I have a lot of love for the first one, but the second one was just like even more excellently done and added new elements in fun ways. And just, if you haven't played them, I think 1,000-Year Door might be on the Switch you know, what their monthly thing is. Like they've ported some old games. I'm not sure. I still have mine 64 and GameCube, so I just play them on there. But anyway, just fantastic games and just such a great part of my growing up. And I was so excited when Super Paper Mario was going to come out for the Wii. That game was a travesty. It was terrible. I think I barely finished it. They took out everything that was fun and creative and silly about Paper Mario completely. Like, even to the point of, like, they introduced 3D. Like, the point of Paper Mario is that he is a 2D creation. And, like, look, I know that video game franchises have to evolve. I get it. I have played a lot of Zelda games, and, you know, Zelda is always reinventing itself. I just think Zelda does it pretty well. Even when you play a Zelda game you don't love, they're still pretty enjoyable. Like, for example, Skyward Sword, not necessarily my favorite Zelda game of the entire property. Did I still really enjoy playing it? Yeah. Did I replay it? No, but it was still a great entry. I feel like even the worst of the Zelda games are still enjoyable to play. I could barely finish Super Paper Mario, and it wasn't just me. This game was like widely panned. It was just not good. And to have two games that meant so much and were like my favorite video games of all time, and then to have the third one just be so bad, that's depressing. I did end up playing the newest one for the Nintendo Switch. I think it came out a few years ago, Origami King. And while it was definitely more return to form, it still just never recaptured the magic. So yes, this doesn't ruin the first two games. In fact, I just introduced the N64 one to my son, and we're going to play it together for the first time for him. I still have them. It is still depressing to me, though, that they couldn't ever recapture the magic because I felt like there were more good games in that franchise. Okay, number 3. Back to something really niche that I miss, which is the ClueFinders game. The ClueFinders were a CD-ROM game I played in the 90s that were a math and English game, and I played all of them. I played the 3rd grade one, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, the 7 through 12 specifically math one, the roller coaster one that I don't know what its theme was. I love these games. I played them constantly. I played them over and over again. I can still sing some of the songs from these. In fact, I loved these games so much, I kept the CD-ROMs of them for decades. In fact, it was just in our very last move when my husband found this stash and was like, you cannot take these with you anymore. They are literally computer games on CD. And I was like, well, maybe I can find a way to play them. He's like, they say they are for Windows 98. These will not work anymore. So I did. I got rid of them. The reason it's depressing, though, is I cannot find a version of these anywhere. And I have searched and searched and searched and searched. They aren't ported to like iPad or computer. They're not digital. They just do not exist anymore unless you have a computer that's running Windows 98 with a CD-ROM. It just made me sad. I really wanted my kids to play these, and they're nowhere. I know the world is filled with so many math and English games now. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just sad. I'd honestly just play it myself. It taught me so many things playing them growing up. It's a niche thing I'm sad about. Okay, and the last one I want to talk about is basically pouring one out for all the webcomics I started and that just the authors disappeared and never got finished. Are webcomics still a thing? I don't know, like, in the 2000s, I feel like they were everywhere. I don't even know how I found them, but I had like a regular rotation of webcomics that I was reading. Some that were daily, some that were weekly. I knew when each one updated, and these were great stories that I was following sometimes for literal years and years. And so many of these authors just like disappeared, and I never got to hear the ending of the stories. So I have a little list here of some of the ones that I never got to finish, and I hope someone out there has read some of these. I think that would be amazing. No Pink Ponies, Ugly Girl, Candy, this one comic that I was super obsessed with and cannot remember its name at all, and I'm so mad. It was like about a girl, I think, who was sick and was in her mind, and this was so popular that the artist actually was planning on releasing a book and had pre-orders for volume 1 before disappearing off the face of the earth. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? That one was really depressing because that was one of my very favorites. It never got published and she never came back. And then also just another depressing thing with the webcomic is one that you followed for years and then has a terrible ending. I mentioned this on a live a little bit back and one person had known it. So I'm going to say, I followed a comic called Red String, and I was so obsessed with it, followed it for years, and then I hated the ending, which was also depressing. Yeah, so just in general, the webcomics that are never finished. Okay, that's it. This was a weird video. I first would love to know if any of these niche things are things that you experienced. I'm sure a lot of you guys played Paper Mario, so that one is probably more universal. But did you grow up going to a Fry's Electronics? What is the name of the webcomic that was never finished that you so desperately wished was finished? Did you play ClueFinders? I would really love to hear other ClueFinder fans. We can talk about our favorite characters and our favorite ones, or just drop the niche nerd thing that depresses you in the comments below. We can all commiserate together. As always, if you like these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. That is the best way to support me. And if you want to see what I'm currently reading, you can check me out on Instagram at bookborn.reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye.